All right, guys, so to help us better be able to more accurately prototype our GEP project out of cardboard, we are actually going to use the drawing tab feature in Onshape to be able to create templates of all of our parts that we can use to cut out those parts out of cardboard, like I said. So if you're on your GEP doc, you should be on the tab with your final design. I am just working with the comb and tray right now to show you guys as an example, but like I said, you should be on the tab that has your final design. Down at the very bottom, next to the home button, at the very bottom left, you're going to click the plus sign. And you guys have probably done this before. We are going to create a drawing. Now, when you go to create a drawing, you have some options for templates to choose. You want to choose the template that's called ANSI-A. Okay, sets the sheet size, so make sure it's sheet size A, and then inch. We designed our project in inches, so we're going to want to keep it in inches for the drawing as well. You want to make sure that no views are selected because we're going to manually insert those views into the drawing tab, and then you're going to click OK. Now, before you just start clicking and trying to insert different views of your different parts, I always like to set up my sheet. So you're just going to X out of all those things that pop up once you get onto the drawing tab. I always like to rename things as well, just to, keep things organized. So you can go ahead and rename your drawing tab part templates. Because like I said, we're going to be printing out these drawings and using them as our templates when we are prototyping our GEP project out of cardboard. So before we insert any views, we just want to set up our sheet. We are using a 1-to-1 scale when we're creating these drawings, just so when we print out these drawings and we cut out the templates, we are cutting out those templates and creating those cardboard pieces at actual size, so the actual size that you model them in Onshape. So to get to the sheet properties, you're going to 2-finger click on the drawing sheet itself and choose Sheet Properties. And then we are going to set the scale for the entire sheet. This makes it easier so you don't have to set the scale each time when you're trying to bring in a view of a part. So we're going to choose 1-to-1 so that it's actual size. You can keep the format custom and just make sure the size of the sheet is size A, and then hit the green check. And then those are set. Now we can start inserting views of our parts. Now we're only going to need one view of each part, and I'll kind of explain why and show you guys why in a second. So to insert a view of a part, you're going to hit this insert button up here, and then you have to hit insert again. Now when you hit insert, if you're on your main GEP doc, you should have a couple options here. Right now I only have one Part Studio tab that I'm working from because I'm just using an example doc, but you may have a couple here. So again, just make sure you're choosing parts from your final design tab. That's extremely important. And then you'll see, all my parts listed. I only have 6 parts, but again, you guys are going to have more, once you create the outside, housing or box for the chamber, the comb, and the tray. I'm sorry. So I will start with the back wall. So I'm going to choose back wall. And most of the view orientation of the parts that we're going to bring in is the front view. So I'm going to choose that. And that is actually all we need for that part. So that's the back wall. What might help you guys just to stay organized is to kind of label all the parts. So we can create notes or actually add text into this drawing tab. So in the very middle of your top toolbar, you'll see this A. This is the note tool. Click the note tool and then click somewhere in the middle of your part. And I'm going to label this back wall. And we can increase this a little bit so that it looks a little better. And I'm going to hit the green check. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfectly in the middle, but this is going to help you, organize your parts once you do print this drawing out, like I said, and cut out all these templates so you kind of know what's what. So I'm going to repeat the process here. but I'm going to press insert again, and now I will choose the base. Now you'll notice that if I keep the view orientation on the front for the base, the front of the base is kind of, not necessarily looking at the base to see its full view, right? Sometimes when you choose the view orientation as front, even though, technically this is the front view of how you created it in your part studio, this is not necessarily the view we want. So you might have to play around with this a little bit. I'm going to try choosing top and see if I can get the majority of the base. So yes, I get the majority of the base. I'm going to drop it down on my workspace and hit escape. You want to leave some room between your templates just so when you cut them out, you're not, cutting in between things. I'm going to add a note and call this base. And I don't need another note there, so I'm good. And you're just going to continue down with all your parts. Like I said, you're going to have more parts than I am. If I choose front of the comb, this will probably work as well. Sometimes the drawing tabs take a couple seconds to load, so you're just going to have to wait. It's definitely laggy. So I dropped down the front view of my comb. I'm going to add a note again and label this comb. And then let's see, I probably can fit one more on here. I'll do the front wall. So we'll see if the front wall shows up how we like it. Yes, that looks good. So again, you might have to play around with the view orientation of certain parts. And again, if you're doing this in class, just ask, either myself, Miss Smitlitsky, or Miss Hodgson, and we will be happy to help you. I'm going to label this front wall just so we know. And that's probably all I'm going to be able to fit on this sheet, which is fine. The nice thing in Onshape is we can add multiple sheets to a drawing and kind of create a packet of all our templates. So to add a new sheet to your drawing tab, you're going to come over here to the very left middle of your workspace and press the sheets icon. And you're going to come up here and press this insert sheet button. And then you'll see sheet 2 pops up. And now that's completely blank, and we could add more templates to this sheet. If you want to go back to sheet 1 for some reason, if you need to change something, double click on sheet 1, and you can kind of toggle back and forth between the two. Okay? Again, insert, same format. Then I'm going to do my left wall. Obviously, that's not the view. I can just tell from now, even though it's loading here, that's not the view I want for my front wall. Or my left wall, I think that was. So I'm going to choose left, drop it down. You see my notch there. It's still, 1-to-1 scale because we set, that in the first sheet. That was the first thing we did. Add a note, label it, and you guys get the gist. Okay. Once you're done, you might have multiple sheets. Some of you guys may have 3 sheets, 4 sheets, even 5 sheets, depending on how many parts you created and how complex your project is. But once you're done putting all of your parts down, so we have our templates ready to go and everything's labeled, to be able to export and print this out, you're going to come down to your part templates tab. You're going to 2-finger click and press export. Leave the file name as parts template, leave the format as PDF, and leave everything else as is. And then you're going to press export. It may take a second, like I said. Onshape sometimes lags. And then you'll see down at the bottom here, I have my part templates PDF. You can go to your downloads and open that, or I can just double click it from here. And that'll open. You see our templates labeled. You guys could press print, whether you're at home or you're at school. You can print these out, and then you have your templates to be able to cut out your cardboard parts of the project.